Hello everyone, it's nice to be with you again. I hope everyone's doing well. Today I'm going to read to you a story called Mr. Seahorse by Eric Carle. Eric Carle is one of my favorite authors. In this story we're going to read about fish families. In some fish families, the father fish takes care of the eggs. Title page, Mr. Seahorse by Eric Carle. Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea. Mrs. Seahorse began to wiggle and twist this way and that. "It's time for me to lay my eggs," she said. "Can I help?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Oh, yes, thank you." And she laid her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. "I'll take good care of our eggs," said Mr. Seahorse. "I promise." And here's a seahorse, and let's place the eggs right in Mr. Seahorse's belly. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by, let's see, what if we hear? Something looks hidden, looks camouflaged. Oh, it's a group of trumpet fish hidden in a patch of reeds. They call them trumpet fish because they look like the musical instrument, a trumpet. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Stickleback?" "Delighted," said Mr. Stickleback. "I just built a nest, and right away Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch." "Well, keep up the good work," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. And there's the nest of eggs. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by, something else is camouflaged, a lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. And it does look like the mane of a lion, doesn't it? But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Tilapia?" But Mr. Tilapia couldn't answer because his mouth was full of eggs. "Oh, I know," said Mr. Seahorse. "Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch." Mr. Tilapia nodded his head. "You must be very happy," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. So let's put the eggs in Mr. Tilapia's mouth. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by, wonder what this could be. Look at all those leaves. A pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Curtis?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Perfectly fine. Mrs. Curtis laid her eggs, and I have stuck them on my head." Well, that's unusual. "Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch." "You are doing a good job," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. So let's put the eggs on Mr. Curtis's head. Right there, like that. Here we go. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by, what do you suppose this is? It looks like a big rock or a big stone. What kind of fish could it be? A stonefish, hidden behind a rock. Yeah, it certainly is the same color as a stone. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Pipe?" "Couldn't be better," said Mr. Pipe. "Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch." "You should feel very proud of yourself," said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. All right, and let's take these eggs and put them right here on Mr. Pipe. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Bullhead?" "Tip-top," replied Mr. Bullhead. Mrs. Bullhead laid her eggs, and the eggs hatched. "Now I'm babysitting." "Well, you are doing a fine job," said Mr. Seahorse. He swam on his way. Look at all those bullhead fish. The time had come for the seahorse babies to be born. Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted this way and that. At last the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. Let's count them. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seahorse babies. One baby turned around and tried to come back into the pouch. "Oh no," said Mr. Seahorse, "I do love you, but now you are ready to be on your own." The end. I hope you enjoyed that book. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.